overview session, which I'll be covering. So overview or demo session. So in which I will be giving you clear details about like what and all I'm going to cover this in this training and what is this training about. So those kind of details, and also I'll just take you through that particular tool itself. What is this tool and what we are going to do with. So those things I'll explain it. So the training will be mainly on Power BI. So Power BI is the main skill. It's a basically a reporting tool. So we will be creating the reports with the data which we will be connecting, and those reports mainly it will be used by the management to understand their business. So that is the main intention or main thing about this particular tool. So we have a lot of tools in the market. So out of which Power BI is the most used tool. So like in the market in the recent years. So I will also be explaining about SQL Server in this training. That is also from Microsoft only. So Power BI, Microsoft Power BI and Microsoft SQL Server. So basically SQL Server, it helps you to know about more about data. So what is data? How do we store the data in a database? And what kind of models we have it in database, and how we join those tables. So when we join it, how the data looks like. So all those things we will clearly understand, and how it helps in Power BI job is this SQL, right? Using SQL queries, right? So we can validate the data. Okay, so when I say we can validate the data, so whatever the report we developed it, so we can check it out like whether that that report is showing correct numbers or not. So while in the development stage, so we can also write and validate that numbers using Microsoft SQL Server. Okay, so I'll be covering SQL Server as well. And so just if you look at data warehousing, so here if you look at data warehousing is there, right? So data warehousing mainly I cover it to understand what is data. So how, what kind of structure data will be there. So those kind of basic terminologies which I'll be teaching, and also what are the different data models we have it. So what structure should be there in order to create a report of certain requirements. Likewise, we will be seeing it, and we will start this. I mean, we will have these classes between 7 to 8:15 a.m. Okay, if possible, I'll extend 5-10 minutes more, but mostly it will be this timing only. Okay, so that is the timings which will be taken care. So this is the thing. Okay, so if you look go forward, right? So we'll understand first of all more in detail about what is this business intelligence, right? So if you look at this business intelligence, right? Business intelligence. Intelligence means knowledge. So basically business knowledge we get it from this particular Power BI tool. Business knowledge. How we get it? So what exactly we are doing it? So why companies are using this BI tools? Correct? If you look at here, so business intelligence is the process that helps us change data into information. Whatever the data we get it, that data it will change it to information, and information whatever we have it, right? So we will get the knowledge from it, and based on the knowledge, so we can plan how we can improve the business, how we can take our business forward, likewise, right? So basically the information what we are talking about, correct? So if you take an example like anything, of course, right, like this one, COVID, right? I wanted to know India wide how many cases are coming, right? If I have to understand India wide how many cases are been coming. So how do we understand it, right? So we should have a data for it to represent that particular one. So you will have data in particular state, but in order to represent the data India wise, so we have to collect the data from each state. We have to combine all the information into one consolidated system. I mean, one consolidated data set. Then we want to create the report on India wise or state wise. Likewise, we can represent it. So it has a dependency of a proper data. For example, COVID cases in India. If you search it, so right. So if you look at here, so we are getting a visualization. If you clearly look at, see, it is a trend it is showing from month on month, right? So how is that cases are flowing, which we can see it last 1 year. If you want, all the time, like complete from the beginning, you could see. So we have the data of the visual. So this kind of representation we do it using the BI tools. So basically this will give high level, like you can also see, it is also giving overall how many total cases are there, how many deaths happened, likewise in cards also, which we could see it. So that is the kind of information which we can do it. It is not about COVID cases, which I was saying in this particular training. It could be any data, financial data, let's say. So we will see that, like I'll take more examples in upcoming things, upcoming slides also, which will help you to understand. So mainly, so whatever the data we have it, the representation will help to understand. For example, the same thing what you are looking at here, right? This particular visual, what you are looking, COVID cases, right? So if we have a files, Excel files, I have it. Let's say we have, every month or every year from each state, we have one file is there. How many cases on particular day, right? If I have a file, if I have to understand like this on a quickly, is it possible? Means no. So we can quickly understand the data through this particular data representation. Same way for any business or any companies, what which we are going to uh, do the reporting using this kind of tools, right? So we will have lot of data, and the data will not be there in the right structure or right shape, or it will not be combined completely. So all these things which we do it, and we create a report, so which will help the people to understand their business very quickly. So that's what you could see. Business intelligence is a process that help us change data into information. That information only we are getting the knowledge. I can clearly see, okay, as on today, how many cases happened. If I wanted to know, I can just quickly go through this particular one. You could see February 17, 27, 2023, new cases is 169. And you could see it's very less when you compare with the some months ago. You could see this one, it had new cases is 2.5 lakhs on one day itself, right? So likewise, which we can see that, and we can understand this particular, business. Okay, this is one example. We'll see more in upcoming slides. Okay, so if you look at, so what exactly we will be doing it, right? How is the total system it will work? So we get the raw data. For example, it could be any business. Let's say we have Amazon is there, Flipkart is there, Swiggy is there, our ATM is there, our bank stores itself is there, our supermarket is there, or any kind of thing, right? So we will make some transactions, we get the data. For example, if I order something in, Amazon, right? So I get that data. Where I get the data? So there will be a backend system where it will be stored. Even if you go to that shopping complex also, right? I mean supermarket also. So there will be a lot of counters will be there, billing will happen. So those billings, everything it will be stored in the backend. So likewise, so whatever the data, like let's say if I have a manufacturing unit also, how much we are purchasing the raw materials, how much we have spent for transport, how much we have spent for manpower to manufacture those things. So everything, each and everything will have a data about that particular one. Then only they can calculate, okay, this much spendings we have done it, like fund spendings, and this much profit we got it. Or ATM transactions, how many failed transactions are there? Even we go to ATM and it will be withdraw the cash and we will not get we will not get the cash, but it will be done. Something like so. I raise a complaint. How many complaints has been raised in which area? How many has been resolved? Our application is there. So application is not working and people raise the issues if it is not working. How many issues are there and how many has been fixed? There is a priority to fix that issues also. Likewise, it could be any data, we get it. So I want to understand what is happening. So for understanding, we will be using the reporting tools in the company. Any company, if you take it, so BI will be used in any of the companies. Okay, so we will get the raw data. The raw data can be there in different format. It could be Excel file, CSV file, or text file, or XML file. It could be any file in the backend. It will be stored. So what we will be doing at end of the day is, so we will be doing a warehousing it here. If you could see here, the first step is raw data. We will have it. That raw data, so we will load into the warehouse. Warehouses means it's a place where we store the data. It's a database only where we will store the data. So we will have extract, transform, and loading. How we do it is, so we'll have a ETL tool will be there. ETL means extract, transform, and load. So those ETL tools, we create a jobs and we schedule it, not like we. That is like another people in the team, right? So they will do that particular hour. They will be working on data side. So we are working on the BI side. BI means creating the reports. Okay, so that is the something. So we will get the data. From that data, we will have whole data on which I want to create one report. Let's say I want to create brand report, BREND brand report, or sales report, or volume report. Okay, or any application report, or anything, of course, right? So it likewise, I'm just giving an example. So it could be any report which if you wanted to create it, so we will connect with those information, whatever that useful information we connect it, and we will create a graphical representation. Okay, so we will create the report. Okay, so it is like, so we'll create that visualizations. From there we can easily understand, so what is what. And I mean, those higher people, they'll attend the meetings, right? And in that meetings, they'll decide, okay, what is happening in our business. So what we want to do it to improve it further. So likewise, they'll think about, and we will also have, forecasting and predicting also can be done. So those forecasting and predicting is, today this much happened. How many products should be there for next month in order to get more sales? So like kind of predicting should be there. For example, this month, 10,000, products has been sold out. Next month, how much we need it based on the existing demand. If we have only 1,000 only next month and we need 10,000, so then it will be huge loss to the company, right? Like this, predicting all those things can be also part of this. That will be done with machine learning and data science, and those data also will be loaded into the data warehouse, and that also we represent it. So our purpose is, we don't have to work on this data engineering side or this data science side. So business intelligence side we have to work it, so where we will be uh, connecting with the data and we will be creating the reports. Okay, so this is how the flow will be there, right? So if you want to look at this particular one in detail of about a project architecture, right? So we'll have lot of sources will be there. Like in a company, right? There will be like lot of uh, business units will be there. Business or yeah. So business only will be there. Different businesses, different people will be there, different requirements will be there. So different data also will be there, like e-commerce data, supply chain management, ERP, like HR management, marketing data, sales data, volume data, sales also, online sales, offline sales. Likewise, any kind of data will be there. So those data will be stored in data warehouse that will be maintained by the company, and we will have ETL. Like I said, right? ETL means extract, transform, and load. Using that ETL, jobs, right? So we'll pick the data and we will maintain in a warehouse system. So here data warehouse is there. So operational data. So we will see all these things in very detail from in the upcoming lessons in data warehouse classes. But yeah, so that's how we will maintain the data warehouse system. From data warehouse, we connect with the BI tool and we will be creating the reports. So based on the reports we created, so we can give that access to the relevant users where they can analyze the data. So this is how it will be there. And here MDM is there. MDM will have complete history of the data. So warehouse will have required data. So where I will be creating a report for 3 years, then I'll keep only 3 years. So remaining I'll archive it in the MDM. Okay, so likewise we'll see all these things in upcoming lessons very clearly. So this is how it will be there. And if you look at this particular next one here, right? So it will be like which data I'll be working. So if you get a job, right? So we will not be working on all the financial data, manufacturing data, not like that. Let's say I got a job and I'll be working for one client. Let's say banking client. Let's say if you take anything, ICICI Bank I'm working with or HDFC Bank. Then I'll be working on the banking kind of data only. Okay, banking kind of data only. So whatever the data they have it, so they will have some requirements to analyze their data. So based on the requirements, right? So we will be creating the reports on that banking client. Similarly, manufacturing. So anyways, like we will be working on, it is like, domain knowledge actually. If you already have some experience, right? Like irrespective of this domain knowledge, if you have this experience, you can easily work on it. There is nothing like so we should be mastered, but it is like if you know the tool, Power BI tool, and if you know that all the options, like what is their requirement and what is that you have to do it, so that is fair enough to get that. It could be any domain, you can work on it if you have the knowledge on it. Okay, so this particular slide will give you about like a different domain. Like sometimes HR will call you like on which domain you have worked with so far in your project, right? You will be working on any of the project. It could be financial, it could be manufacturing, e-commerce, or it could be any kind of thing. Okay, food and beverages. Let's say you could see PepsiCo is there, or Coca-Cola, Nestle. I just given some of the companies only, not listed all the thousands of the companies. So for your example purpose, I have listed few of the companies. There might be companies, any company we will be working it. So it will be like any company which we will be working on like in the BI side. Okay. So if you look at again the same thing, previously what I told, right? This one architecture. So this is the actual thing which I'm representing here or this one, both are same. We'll have data sources, we'll have a ETL tool in the project, right? Let's say once you get the job, so we are a BI team. BI team means so we will be creating the reports and we will have a database team will be there. What they'll do is they'll work is database team or ETL team, we call it. What they'll do it is, right, they'll pick the data from the different data sources through this particular tool, ETL tool. And it is not only one tool in the market. Again, we have lot of tools are there. So they'll create the jobs and they'll load the data into database. From the database, we will connect it and we will create the report. It is not like BI also, we have only Power BI. Lot of tools are there in the market. Like you could see Power BI is there, and you could see Informatica is also one of the ETL tool. Likewise, I'm telling you, there are n number of ETL tools, n number of database storage options we have it, and n number of BI tools are there. Out of n number of BI tools, Power BI stands number one position in the market. Okay, so that is just to get the idea about like. So once you get a job, we will have different teams we will be working with. So mainly data engineering team and BI team will be there, and we also have other teams also, which I'll also discuss in upcoming regular classes when I discuss with the project class, right? There, how many teams are there and how is that work will happen, who will do what work in the projects, right? So those things we will see it in there. Okay. And if you look at this, right? So comparison also. So which one is better, right? If you look at Tableau was number one tool in 2015. Now, as on 2022, if you look at, so Microsoft Power BI stands number one position in the leaders, and second place is this one. So how we are calculating this one? So this is coming from the Gartner. You can also check it on online. So Gartner Business Intelligence. You can, if you search it in the Google, you will get this particular slide. So if you look at here, so on two factors mainly, ability to execute and completeness of vision. Based on these two factors, right? So Microsoft stays number one position in the market, and second place goes to Salesforce Tableau. Okay, so if you look at, so one is Microsoft, then Tableau. Previously it was Tableau, then now it is last 4 5 years we have Microsoft as a first place, and still it is improving a lot. On every month we will have a latest versions coming in Power BI, and it is like new features that is getting added. So we'll discuss everything in classes where you will have complete idea about last 2 years what was there in Power BI, last few months ago what was there in Power BI, now what is there. So this is also something which we will learn it like in the actual classes. Okay, so but our end goal is like mainly to work on visualization, right? So we want to create the reports and which will help the company. Okay, I'll also show you like now I'll take the Power BI and how we can create it, how it is easy that we can work on it. So we'll see that also. Okay, and if you look at scope on Microsoft skills, always it will be having good demand to the Microsoft skills. So, but if you look at reporting point of view, we had SSRS previously from Microsoft. So instead of SSRS, so they are recommended to use Power BI because they are not going to develop further this SSRS. So whatever we have it like SSRS, so that is going to stop. So people wanted to use BI for Power BI for reporting. And we also have a data modeling tools from Microsoft. So what is this data modeling tools are? So when you have huge data, huge volumes of the data is there, right? So and if you want to create a reports with huge volumes of the data in Power BI, there are certain limitations we have it. So with good performance, if you want to create it, so we can also create a data modeling tool. We can create a data model and we can connect with that data model with Power BI and create a reports. So that is also there in Microsoft. And data integration tools, we have it, ETL tools. So we have SSIS as a one tool, and data factory is also one more tool. So these are the two data integration tools we have it. So which primarily we will be using it like for ETL purpose, right? This ETL purpose will be using, that is also from Microsoft. So if you look at a project perspective, right? So in a project we can use everything Microsoft products end to end to support the BI solution, data engineering solution, everything. Okay, so that is the scope where we can do everything with the Microsoft. Okay, so that is the one thing which we can notice, like where we can do everything with Microsoft tools itself. Okay. So I'll also give a time to you to ask any queries or any questions. Okay. So if you look at this one, Power BI products are there, right? So actually we are going to learn we are going to develop the reports using Power BI desktop. Okay, it's a standalone tool, so we can easily install, how to install it, how we can create a license, free license, and practice it, everything, like even admin activities, Power BI server, I mean Power BI service also, how do we do it, and what is Power BI premium account, all those things which we will look into in upcoming lessons. Actually, let me open Power BI tool to give you some idea, like so what is this Power BI, how do we connect with, like likewise which we will see it. So if you look at here, I'm just opening the Power BI tool now to help you understand, like how we can connect with the data and how we can create a report. So basically, so Power BI desktop is the tool. I'll explain, I'll give that knowledge in upcoming lessons, like which software, how to install everything. I'll provide the details so that you don't have to worry on that. So it's a developer tool, so where we will connect with the data, different data sources it can connect with using Power BI. So what and all it will be connected, under what are the methods we have it to connect with the data, and everything like in real time perspective also, right? So what kind of challenges which we will be facing it, like in that, so how do we fix those challenges, is there any workaround methods are there? So likewise we will be looking into that. So in this particular one, so we'll have different licenses. I'll also talk about different licenses and what is the benefits of this license and this license. I'll give a clear, comparison in upcoming lessons. And this is the interface of the Power BI tool, and it is already opened here. So if you could look at, so this is the tool which in which we will be learning. So this is a small tool only. It is not like I can say it's a very difficult tool, nothing like that. It's a small tool. So we just have to create the reports, but we should know end to end about this particular tool. Even it is small tool also, there are data engineering activities which we can do, data transformations. So these data transformations, we can use it to structure the data. So there are a lot of options. Each and every option you should know in this particular tool, and what is the reason and why do we use it, so that in the actual requirement, right, when it comes to the project requirement, so you can use it accordingly. Okay, so it is like if you know that particular tool, like what option, when to use, how to use it, then it will be easy for you to understand, and if you have a requirement and do it. So main thing is we will be connecting with the data and creating the report. So I will use that existing connection only, like team 29, whatever the connection I have it. So because I have to give the server name and all those things again. So just I'm loading the data. So I'm connecting with the database. It's a SQL database I connected. I'll just load with some tables. Okay, load it. I'm just taking some few tables and load it. So what is this methods? So when we are connecting, it will come. Everything will understand. But if you could look at to explain about this one on a high level. So we are loading the data. Once we load the data, so we'll get the data in the right hand side, like in this particular one fields area. In this we will have those tables. Using this data, right? So using these visualizations, we will create a report. And this is the reporting session, and this is the data window. So where we can see the data, what data we have it, like the metadata, what we can see it. And you can see this is a modeling session. So we'll talk about, data modeling, how do we create it? So what kind of different kind of models are there? Those things we will even cover in data warehousing. Okay. So mainly we want to create the reports, right? So let's say if you take this visualization, and we should know when to use which visual. So blindly we cannot create the reports, right? So there is a if this is the scenario or this is the data analysis requirement, I have it, then I have to use that visual. Otherwise, I have to use other visual like that. Okay. So likewise, I'm just creating some quick report where you can understand with here in this case. Okay, so there is not like existing data only which will help us like to create a report. There are cases that we want to create a new from this existing data. We want to create a new data also. Okay, so the existing data will not help us to one from this data. We want to create a new columns, new measures, and use those new columns and new measures to create the report as well. Okay. So likewise, we will create this insights. It is not so quick. I just added some visuals, but according to the business requirement and understanding, so there will be a lot of filters we might apply, or different visuals we have it. So everything we will see in detail in the upcoming lessons. So we'll learn like this, like in this particular training. So we kind of create this kind of report or visualizations. So that will help, organization or people, working in the system to understand their business quickly. Okay. So then, so once we develop this report, right? So we'll publish it, this one. Okay. So we will publish this particular report online. So how we can publish it, like here, you could see publish. So what is workspace? What is this everything, right? So we will see that, but let me publish it here. So we'll publish it like this after creating the report, and that will be, see, we can see that report online, you could see. So how we can see this report, like this COVID report, right? Similarly, so we develop this report using Power BI, and we will see that report online like this. See? Like this, which we can see that even it will be interactive also. I would like to see that only for a particular region, and should be, it will be interactive also, right? So likewise, which we can create the reports, and which we can see that, and what and all which we can do it in server, Power BI server. So we will also have a separate class in Power BI server to explain about the interview questions and also server point of view also. So this is what I will be covering it in the Power BI end to end. So this training is particularly mainly on Power BI side to cover end to end each and every option, so that it will be easy for you to work on Power BI jobs if you get it. Okay, it will help you to crack the interview and also to get the job also. So the kind of knowledge which I'll be giving it, you can definitely say you have a strong experience in 5+ years on Power BI. That much knowledge you will get it because I cover end to end. Like when I say end to end, so this is the roadmap of the training which I'll be starting. So mainly, right, if you look, I don't want to compare with others, but I'm just saying. So most of the places in outside, if you go with, you don't get the knowledge properly on the DAX functions. So what I'll do is I'll cover each and every function with going through the Microsoft website itself, each and every function with the example and the real-time scenarios. I'll cover it in my training. So which will help you to understand a clear idea, having all the functions, as and then it is required to create a new column or new measure, right? So you can use that things and you can easily work on it. So my training will be like in upcoming from tomorrow onwards. Will be the roadmap will be I'll start from data warehousing. So data warehousing, what is data? What kind of models we have it? So what are the tables we have it? Likewise, each and everything I'll cover it in data warehouse. So that is like, in data perspective, you will have clear understanding, you get it. This is theoretically, it will be there. Then we'll have SQL Server, I'll be covering it. So in SQL, how do we create objects, and how we can use that data query language to write SQL queries to validate the data for the reports which we develop it. So likewise, which we can see that, and Power BI desktop. So Power BI desktop is something I'll cover it end to end, and the uses of the visuals also, which visual, when to use it. And DAX is the main thing which most of the places outside, they don't cover it properly. They'll hardly cover some 20, 10 functions, and they'll say, okay, this is enough. But the main thing is DAX only, which I'll be covering end to end in my training. Okay. And Power BI server. So whatever I teach it, right, in Power BI desktop also, like if you go to this particular desktop, every options we have it, like in this tool. It could be data transformations or insert modeling, or there are some of the hidden things also there, format, data drill, or view option. Everything I'll cover it. So when I click on this, we'll have a table tools, column tools, likewise, right? So each and every option, I will also take the real time. Okay, this is the cases we will be using. This is the thing we will be using, like that. I'll cover it so that you will have clear visibility about each option, how to use, when to use in the projects also. Okay, and also I'll be covering the Power BI server also. Power BI server means like the Power BI server or service actually, right? So service. So what is this Power BI service into? I'll be covering. Also, I'll be taking from this particular batch onwards. Like I'll also have a real-time project development class. So we'll have a live class. I'll take some data and I'll create an entire report, and I'll give certain assignments also to you guys in the actual classes where you can work it out on. When I'm taking the classes, right, I'll give those assessments on few classes which you can do it yourself and come back also if you have any doubts. I'll provide the resume class recording also on how do you can create a resume and how to get more calls. So those also I'll provide it. So which will help you. And if you have any queries on resume things, which you can correct back with me also. Okay, so that is the thing. And while I conduct the classes, right, I'll also ask the interview questions in the classes on daily basis, so that you will practice it at the same time parallelly, and you can also get that knowledge from those interview questions. Okay, I'll also share the reports for hands-on practice. You can practice it, the dashboards, whatever I share it, around 40 reports I share it. So those reports, if you practice it, and if you have any queries, you can connect back with me on the classes. So there, if you are stuck with something, you can ask me so that I'll clarify your doubts. Okay. So those also will be there. And I will also provide the recordings on daily basis. It will be given for 12 months. So just this training will be there for 2 months. So you can easily get the knowledge if you properly study on time within few months, like 3, 4 months only, like, or within 2 months also people will get the job. Okay, if you properly learn on time. So that is the thing. So, and end to end materials I'll provide it, whatever I'm teaching in the classes, right? Those material, you don't have to prepare extra notes. If you refer my notes and prepare it attending my classes, so that is fair enough. And also I support for placement also 100% for boys and girls. But so on the placement side, placement training and support, right? So that will be extra charge will be there. Okay, so that will not be in the there in the training cost. Training cost will be 10,000 rupees. Okay, So that is the thing. The 10,000 you can pay 2 times, 5,000 initially, and in after mid of the training we will also have another 5,000 you can be paid. Okay, so that is the thing. And if you want some more videos, you can also subscribe to my channel in the YouTube, Corporate Trainer Navin. You can search for it, so you will find this channel, and you can go to the playlist and you can see a lot of free training videos also there. Not Power BI trainings, but other tools. So I was also giving the training previously, like 4 years ago, on Tableau BI tool. Now I'm giving on only Power BI. Okay, so if you want to learn Tableau trainings also, those training videos are also available in my YouTube channel playlist. So you can refer it and you can even learn it. So while learning with Power BI, so if you want to learn that Tableau also, you can even learn that, and ETL tool also if you want to learn this ETL tool, right? So what we were discussing, this ETL videos also is there in my channel. If you want to learn it, you can do that one as well. Okay. So anything, any queries anybody has, all of you, please ask me now. Any queries anybody has to ask? This will be online training. There is no offline, and I'll be giving the recordings also on every day, right? So, like those who wanted to continue the training, you wanted to pay the 5,000 and you can register it, and that will be you can enroll it from tomorrow. That recordings will be provided for those people who has registered for the training, and classes also you can attend only for the registered people only. Can you go on mute? I think lot of disturbance. Yeah, yeah. Anybody has any questions? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. No questions.
Yes, Satish, we
It's
can hear
fine.
you. Not as of
So,
now.
okay, okay.
We'll come back
So,
to you if you have.
yeah, so if you have any questions, you can ask in the classes also. It's not like this is a overview session which I was continuously speaking and doing that session. But as and then in the classes, if you get any doubts, if I'm explaining any of the concept, right, I'll also explain one more time if you don't understand. But mostly I'll give you with the clear examples so that you can use that knowledge over that. Okay. So there will be like lot of around 1,000 plus people has got training, and they got lot of placements. So placement is something it's optional, guys. Okay. So training is effective training. I give it. If you have communication skills, English, you can speak it. You can get easily the job from the knowledge which I give it. Lot of people they get the job on their own based on my training. Okay. So that is like completely optional for you. So that is it. Okay. So if you don't have any questions, then I'll close this session now. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thank you.